This is David from swimmingpoollearning.com. I'm going to go over Cal Hypo shock versus other forms of shock. And of course, the first thing you need to note is that not all Cal Hypo is created equally. Leslie's Power Powder and Power Powder Plus contains 70% to 73% calcium hypochlorite, or Cal Hypo, and with 70% available chlorine, this is a very strong and powerful Cal Hypo shock. It's also very fast dissolving, and it's very easy to use. You simply broadcast it into the pool with the pool running. If you have a vinyl pool, I suggest putting it directly in the skimmer with the pool running. What makes Cal Hypo great as a shock is that it doesn't contain any cyanuric acid, so you won't be adding cyanuric acid to the pool when you're using Cal Hypo. If you're using trichlor tablets as your primary sanitizer, I suggest shocking your pool with Cal Hypo since it does not contain any cyanuric acid. As mentioned, not all Cal Hypo is created equal. Other brands of Cal Hypo, like the HTH brand here, has a lower concentration of Cal Hypo and a lot more filler ingredients, so it may be less expensive than the store brand Cal Hypo, but it's not going to be nearly as effective, and you kind of get what you pay for when you're buying Cal Hypo. Other brands of Cal Hypo may not be as fine of a powder, and this could cause problems with it clumping up on the bottom of the pool. And it can also cause the pool water to turn very cloudy if you're using Cal Hypo that's not a very fine powder. There's also non-chlorine shocks available, and these contain potassium monosulfate, and these are not actually chlorine-based, and they're good for organic contaminants in the water, but they do not contain any chlorine, and so they're ineffective against algae, bacteria, and other pathogens in the water. Liquid chlorine would be the most comparable to Cal Hypo. If you wanted to shock a pool with liquid chlorine, it is very effective. However, liquid chlorine is not quite as convenient as Cal Hypo, and it doesn't have the long shelf life that Cal Hypo has. And to be effective, the liquid chlorine you're going to use has to be fresh, and you can't use trichlor tablets to shock the pool. They dissolve too slow in the water, and so if you need to add chlorine to your pool to bring up the chlorine level rapidly, you wouldn't use trichlor tablets. Again, since they don't release chlorine fast enough, you wouldn't use Cal Hypo tablets either because they're also slow dissolving and they won't raise the chlorine level in the pool up in a rapid fashion that Cal Hypo shock will. You might also consider using a dichlor shock to raise the chlorine level up in the pool rapidly. However, dichlor does contain cyanuric acid, and so as you're adding dichlor to the pool, you're also raising cyanuric acid. Again, Cal Hypo does not have any cyanuric acid in it, so it's a great shock, especially if you're using 3-inch trichlor tablets in your pool as your primary sanitizer. And some reasons you may want to shock your pool. If your chlorine level is at 0 or at 1 part per million, you definitely want to bring the chlorine level up rapidly, and that's why you would shock the pool. Other reasons you may want to shock the pool is if you notice the pool water is cloudy, and it's also a good idea to shock your pool after a pool party or any other kind of heavy usage. And if you are going to use Cal Hypo shock, you definitely want to pick a brand like Power Powder Plus that has 73% Cal Hypo, and you want to make sure it has at least 70% minimum available chlorine and not a lot of fillers and other ingredients.